But since the similitudes of things in the understanding of separate substances are more universal than in our understanding, and are more effective in that something is known through them, by the similitudes of material things, separated substances do not only know material things according to the reason of genus or species, as our understanding does, but also according to individuals. For since the species of things existing in the intellect must be immaterial, they cannot, inasmuch as they are in our intellect, be the principle of knowing particulars which are individuated by matter, because the species of our intellect are of such a contracted power that one leads only to the knowledge of one. Hence, just as the similitude of the nature of a genus cannot lead to the knowledge of genus and difference, so that the species may be known through it, thus the similitude of the nature of the species cannot lead to the knowledge of the individuating principles, which are the material principles, so that by means of it the individual may be known in his singularity. But the similitude of the understanding of a separate substance, since it is of universal power, existing as if a certain one and immaterial, can lead to the knowledge of the principles of species and individuation, so that by means of that separated substance he can know not only the nature of the genus and species, but also of the individual through his understanding. Nor does it follow that the form by which he knows is material, or that they are infinite according to the number of individuals. Still, what a lower virtue can do, a higher one can also do, but more eminently. Hence the inferior virtue works through many, the superior virtue works through only one. For the higher the power, the more it is collected and united. On the contrary, the inferior virtue is divided and multiplied, whence we see that the different kinds of sensibility which perceive the five external senses are grasped by one force of the common sense. But the human soul is lower in the order of nature than a separate substance. But it itself is cognitive of universals and particulars through two principles, namely through sense and understanding. Therefore the separated substance, which is higher, knows both in a higher way through one principle, that is, through the intellect. Again, the species of intelligible things reach our understanding in the opposite order, and to the understanding of separate substances, for they reach our understanding by way of resolution, by abstraction from material and individuating conditions, whence singularities cannot be known by us through them. Now, the intelligible species come to the understanding of the separated substance, as it were by way of composition, for it has intelligible species from its assimilation to the first intelligible species of the divine intellect, which indeed is not abstracted from things, but factive of things. But it is factive not only of form, but of matter, which is the principle of individuation. Species, then, of the understanding of separate substances regard the whole thing, and not only the principles of the species, but also the individuating principles. In addition, if the heavenly bodies are moved by separate substances, according to the position of the philosophers, when separate substances act and move through the intellect, it is necessary for them to know the mobile that they move, which is something particular, for universals are immovable. Situations too which are renewed by motion are certain particulars, which cannot be ignored by the substance moving through the intellect. It must therefore be said that separate substances know the particulars of these material things.